Just hearing that name sends chills down the spine of every car enthusiast on the planet. The 1967 Shelby GT500 from Gone in 60 Seconds isn't just a car. It's automotive royalty wrapped in pepper gray paint with black racing stripes. But behind that iconic fastback lies a web of secrets, controversies, and downright bizarre facts that'll make you question everything you thought you knew. From legal battles that destroyed people's lives to the shocking truth about how many Eleanors actually exist, we're about to expose 20 insane facts that the producers never wanted you to discover. Let's dive in. Fact 20. Eleanor's body kit was stolen from a bankrupt company. The iconic custom body kit that makes Eleanor instantly recognizable was actually designed by a small California company called Unique Performance. But here's where it gets dark. The design was essentially copied and mass-produced without proper compensation after the company went bankrupt. The original designer spent years developing those aggressive front fascia modifications, the side scoops, and that distinctive rear valance, only to watch Hollywood appropriate his work. The kit included hand-fabricated fiberglass components that cost over $15,000 to produce per car, featuring functional brake cooling ducts, custom hood scoops, and those unmistakable side exhausts that became Eleanor's signature look.
This is the most mysterious Shelby ever built. A car so legendary, even
What makes this even more twisted is that when Gone in 60 Seconds became a massive hit, demand for Eleanor replicas exploded. But the original designer saw almost nothing from the profits. Multiple companies began producing knockoff body kits, creating a Wild West situation where quality varied wildly, and nobody could agree on what constituted an authentic Eleanor tribute. The legal mess surrounding these kits lasted over a decade, with lawsuits flying between manufacturers, the film studio, and original Carroll Shelby's licensing company. Some replica builders were sued into bankruptcy for simply trying to recreate the movie car, while others operated in legal gray areas.
Now, don't get me wrong, they're still awesome cars, but Ford realized that most people were never going to race.
The controversy got so heated that the custom car community split into factions arguing about intellectual property rights versus automotive freedom. Today, building an Eleanor clone requires navigating a minefield of trademarks, licensing agreements, and legal restrictions that didn't exist before this one movie car changed everything. Fact 19. The original Eleanor was a completely different car. Here's something that shocks most fans. The iconic 1967 Shelby from the 2000 remake isn't the original Eleanor at all. The first Gone in 60 Seconds film from 1974 featured a 1973 Ford Mustang Mach 1 painted yellow as Eleanor, and that car looked nothing like the version everyone knows today. Producer H.B. Halicki chose the 73 specifically because it was a current model year vehicle that he could easily source and modify, featuring that distinctive fastback roofline and aggressive NASA hood scoop. The yellow Mach 1. Eleanor survived the entire original film relatively intact, unlike the multiple Shelbys destroyed in the remake's production. When Hollywood decided to remake the film, they completely redesigned Eleanor for modern audiences, choosing the 67 Shelby GT500 because it represented the pinnacle of classic muscle car design and had stronger brand recognition. This decision essentially erased the original Eleanor from popular consciousness, with most people under 40 having no idea that the real Eleanor was a completely different car from a different era. The yellow Mach 1 has become a forgotten piece of automotive cinema history, overshadowed entirely by its silver screen successor. What's fascinating is that the original 73 Eleanor would be significantly cheaper and easier to replicate today, yet nobody builds tributes to it because the Shelby version so completely dominated popular culture. Classic car purists argue endlessly about which Eleanor deserves recognition, with some claiming the original film's raw, unpolished chase sequences make the Mach 1 superior despite its lack of visual pizzazz compared to the Shelby's refined aggression. Fact 18. 11 cars were destroyed while making the film. The production of Gone in 60 Seconds demolished 11 separate GT500 replicas during filming, and here's the kicker. Not a single one was an actual original Shelby. Every car destroyed was a standard 1967 or 68 Mustang fastback modified to look like a GT500, because using real Shelbys would have cost millions and caused riots among collectors. The production team purchased base model Mustangs from across the country, then spent approximately $60,000 per car transforming them into convincing Eleanor replicas with fiberglass body kits, custom paint, and period-correct details. Each stunt car was built for specific purposes, with some reinforced for jumps, others prepped for high-speed work, and several designated as sacrificial crash vehicles. The most expensive loss was the hero car used for close-up beauty shots, which accidentally caught fire during a stunt gone wrong, destroying over $100,000 worth of custom fabrication and camera equipment. That particular car featured a fully detailed interior with custom gauges, hand-stitched upholstery, and working air conditioning for actor comfort during long filming days. Insurance companies initially refused to cover the modified Mustangs at full value, arguing they were kit cars rather than authentic Shelbys, leading to heated negotiations about replacement costs. The 11 destroyed vehicles represented nearly $700,000 in total losses, not including the labor hours spent building them. What's ironic is that those 11 fake Shelbys would each be worth over $200,000 today as screen-used vehicles if they'd survived, making their destruction a multi-million-dollar mistake in hindsight that haunts the production team. Fact 17. Eleanor's exhaust sound is from a Ford GT40. Get ready to have your reality shattered. That deep, aggressive exhaust note you hear every time Eleanor fires up isn't from a Shelby engine at all, but rather from a vintage Ford GT40 race car. Sound designers felt the actual GT500 engine recording sounded too tame and civilized for the intensity required by the film's action sequences. They needed something that would shake theater subwoofers and create an emotional response. So they recorded a GT40's race-tuned 427 cubic inch V8 at full throttle on a professional racing circuit. The GT40's engine produces a distinctly sharper, more mechanical sound than a street Shelby due to its racing exhaust headers, lack of mufflers, and high compression internals designed for endurance racing. Sound engineers then layered these recordings with NASCAR V8 sounds and added artificial bass frequencies to create Eleanor's signature rumble. The resulting audio is a complete fabrication that no actual street car could produce without violating every noise ordinance in existence. What makes this particularly amusing is that Shelby purists immediately noticed something was off about Eleanor's exhaust note but couldn't pinpoint exactly why it sounded wrong until the sound team revealed their techniques years later in interviews. The fake exhaust sound became so popular that aftermarket exhaust companies began advertising systems that promised to make your Mustang sound like Eleanor, attempting to replicate an artificial sound with real hardware. This audio deception influenced an entire generation of car enthusiasts who now associate that specific sound profile with classic Mustangs, despite it being completely artificial and representative of an entirely different vehicle built for racing rather than street use. Fact 16. Nicolas Cage couldn't actually drive Eleanor properly. Here's a Hollywood secret that'll surprise you. Nicolas Cage, despite playing master car thief Memphis Reigns, struggled significantly with driving Eleanor and required extensive stunt doubling for most actual driving sequences. Cage had limited experience with high-performance manual transmission vehicles, and the modified Mustangs used in filming had heavy clutches, unassisted steering, and aggressive handling characteristics that proved challenging for an actor more comfortable with scripts than steering wheels. The production initially attempted to have Cage perform more of his own driving, but after several near incidents during rehearsals, insurance companies insisted on professional stunt drivers for anything beyond basic cruising shots.
Go on with the car. You point, you shoot, you point, you shoot, you point, you shoot. And then suddenly...
What you see in close-ups is Cage sitting in a stationary car with a green screen behind him, mimicking steering inputs while stunt coordinator Mike Ryan actually drove Eleanor through those insane chase sequences. The production used clever camera angles, rapid editing, and strategic close-ups to disguise the fact that Cage's hands on the steering wheel rarely corresponded to what the car was actually doing. Even simple scenes like pulling away from curbs or parking required multiple takes because the clutch engagement point was so aggressive that Cage repeatedly stalled the engine. The film's most iconic moments, the 50-car jump, the tight alley sequences, and the final police chase, were all performed by professional stunt drivers while Cage acted out reactions from a separate soundstage. This reliance on stunt drivers is entirely normal in Hollywood. Still, it creates an amusing contrast between Memphis Reigns' supposedly legendary driving skills and the actor's actual automotive abilities, proving once again that movie magic and reality rarely intersect in car films. Fact 15. Eleanor's pepper gray paint was a mistake. Prepare for this bombshell. Eleanor's iconic pepper gray metallic paint scheme that became instantly recognizable worldwide was actually a complete accident that happened because the production designer ordered the wrong paint code. The original plan called for a silver metallic finish similar to what appeared on period Shelbys, but a miscommunication with the paint supplier resulted in delivery of DuPont Pepper Gray, a slightly darker and warmer shade with different metallic flake content. The production team had already prepped multiple car bodies for painting when the error was discovered, and with filming deadlines looming, they made the fateful decision to proceed with the incorrect paint, rather than delay production waiting for the right color dot, then delay production waiting for the right color. Director Dominic Sena actually preferred the pepper gray after seeing it applied to the first car, feeling it photographed better under various lighting conditions and created more dramatic contrast with the black racing stripes than the originally planned silver would have achieved. That happy accident became one of the most recognized automotive paint schemes in history, with the exact color code becoming highly sought after by replica builders and Mustang enthusiasts. Paint manufacturers still sell Eleanor Gray or Gone in 60 Seconds Gray as specialty colors, charging premium prices for what amounts to a mistake that nobody caught in time. The warmer undertones in pepper gray make it appear almost bronze under certain lighting, creating a chameleon effect that silver would never achieve. What's remarkable is that this accidental color choice has probably been replicated thousands of times by tribute builders who have no idea they're copying a mistake, rather than a deliberate design decision. Fact 14. The racing stripes were hand-painted on set. Here's something that'll blow your mind. Those perfect black racing stripes running down Eleanor's body weren't vinyl decals or professionally sprayed graphics, but rather hand-painted by the prop department using painter's tape and aerosol cans just hours before filming. The production couldn't afford professional paint shops for 11 cars, so they developed a template system using precise measurements and steady hands. Each stripe took approximately 4 hours to mask and paint, with frequent touch-ups required between takes due to chips and scratches. What makes this even crazier is that the stripe widths vary slightly between different cars, with some measuring 5 inches, while others stretch to nearly 6 inches depending on who painted them that day. Close examination of various scenes reveals inconsistencies in stripe edges, with some appearing crisp and professional, while others show obvious masking tape lines and overspray. This hand-painted approach saved tens of thousands in production costs, but created continuity nightmares that eagle-eyed fans love pointing out. Fact 13. Eleanor's side exhaust system wasn't functional. Get ready for disappointment. Those aggressive side exit exhaust pipes that make Eleanor look so menacing are completely fake and non-functional, serving purely as decorative props bolted to the rocker panels. The actual exhaust systems on all the stunt cars routed underneath the chassis in stock configuration because functional side pipes would have been incredibly loud, created safety hazards for crew members, and violated filming location noise restrictions. The fake side pipes were hollow aluminum tubes with no internal baffling or connection to the actual engine, simply mounted with brackets to look intimidating during beauty shots. What's hilarious is that during certain driving scenes, you can see heat waves and exhaust vapors coming from underneath the car, rather than from the side pipes that supposedly handle exhaust duties. The production added separate sound effects for the side pipes, creating audio of exhaust burbling from those locations despite nothing actually flowing through them. Real side exit exhausts require significant fabrication, heat shielding, and careful routing to prevent burning bodywork or melting components. The movie props weighed about 15 pounds per side, compared to functional systems exceeding 60 pounds with all necessary hardware. Fact 12. The interior was full of modern safety equipment. Here's what they didn't want you seeing. Beneath Eleanor's period-correct dashboard and vintage upholstery lurked extensive modern safety equipment, including hidden airbag systems, modern seatbelt pretensioners, and crash sensors that would never exist in a real '67 Mustang. Insurance companies and safety coordinators mandated contemporary protection systems for stunt drivers performing dangerous sequences, requiring the production to cleverly disguise this technology within the classic interior aesthetic. The steering column housed a collapsible modern unit hidden inside a vintage steering wheel, and the seats featured integrated modern safety harness mounting points concealed beneath decorative upholstery. Fire suppression systems, modern fuel cells with safety baffling, and even GPS tracking devices were integrated throughout each vehicle, creating a bizarre mashup of 60s styling wrapped around 2000 technology. The production spent over $20,000 per car installing these hidden safety systems, money that never shows on screen but kept actors and stunt drivers protected during increasingly dangerous sequences. What quote ironic is that these heavily modified classic cars were actually safer than most modern vehicles. thanks to professional racing-grade safety equipment mandatory for stunt work. Fact 11. Eleanor's wheels cost more than the base cars. Hold on to your seats for this one. The custom Hallebrand-style wheels fitted to Eleanor cost approximately $12,000 per set, which was actually more expensive than several of the donor Mustangs used as base vehicles for conversion. These weren't authentic Hallebrand wheels, but rather modern reproductions manufactured specifically for the film, featuring the classic five-spoke design that defined 60s racing aesthetics. Each wheel was custom machined from forged aluminum, then polished to a mirror finish that required constant maintenance between takes to maintain that perfect shine. The production ordered over 15 sets to accommodate all the stunt cars plus spares for inevitable damage during filming. What makes this investment even more absurd is that several sets were destroyed during jump sequences and crashes, meaning tens of thousands of dollars worth of custom wheels ended up as scrap metal. The wheels required specialized tire mounting because their dimensions didn't match modern standards, forcing the production to source period-correct tire sizes that were increasingly difficult to find by 2000. Replica builders today struggle to find affordable alternatives to these wheels, with quality reproductions still costing $3,000 to $5,000 per set, making them one of the most expensive components in any Eleanor tribute build. The wheels became so iconic that the specific five-spoke design is now instantly associated with Eleanor despite appearing on countless other classic cars throughout automotive history. Professional wheel manufacturers still produce Eleanor-style wheels as a specific product category, charging premium prices for designs inspired by this single film vehicle, proving that even minor details can become major revenue streams. Fact 10. The speedometer scenes were completely fabricated. Get ready for another illusion to shatter. Those dramatic dashboard shots showing Eleanor's speedometer climbing past 140 miles per hour during chase sequences are completely fake and filmed separately from any actual driving. The production used a stationary dashboard mock-up mounted on a motorized gimbal that could simulate vehicle movement, while cameras captured close-ups of gauges displaying whatever speeds the scene required. No stunt car ever approached those indicated speeds during filming, with most high-speed sequences shot at 60 to 70 miles per hour, then sped up in post-production to appear faster. Insurance restrictions and safety regulations prevented vehicles from exceeding 85 miles per hour on public roads or closed courses used for filming.
The dashboard was dominated by a large speedometer and tachometer, so you could keep...
The speedometer itself was a custom unit with a modified face showing higher numbers than stock GT500 gauges, creating the illusion of greater performance capability. Real 67 Mustang speedometers only read to 120 miles per hour, so the production fabricated gauges reading to 160 to sell the fantasy of Eleanor being some supernatural performance machine. What's particularly deceptive is how editors synchronized the speedometer footage with engine sounds and external shots to create seamless illusions of acceleration that never actually occurred. Professional drivers have analyzed these sequences and determined that the G-forces shown would require acceleration rates impossible for any street car, revealing the extensive manipulation behind seemingly simple dashboard shots. This dashboard trickery has influenced how audiences perceive automotive performance, with many believing classic muscle cars routinely exceed speeds they could never actually achieve safely or reliably. Fact 9. Eleanor's headlights were modern halogen conversions. Here's a detail that period-correct purists hate. Those bright, powerful headlights that illuminate Eleanor's night driving scenes are modern halogen conversions, rather than the dim sealed beam units that came standard in 1967. Original Mustang headlights produced barely enough illumination for safe nighttime driving by modern standards, using outdated sealed beam technology that pales compared to contemporary lighting systems. The production installed modern halogen bulbs in period-looking housings to ensure adequate lighting for nighttime filming without requiring expensive supplemental movie lighting rigs following every shot. These conversions provided 3 to 4 times more light output than original equipment, making nighttime chase sequences actually visible to cameras while maintaining the appearance of stock headlights. What's ironic is that this practical filming necessity created unrealistic expectations about classic car lighting performance, with viewers assuming 67 Mustangs naturally have excellent nighttime visibility when the reality is dramatically different. Real sealed beam headlights from that era are notoriously inadequate, barely illuminating enough road ahead to safely drive at modern highway speeds. The improved lighting also created continuity problems because the halogen units produced different color temperatures than period-correct bulbs, appearing slightly whiter and bluer in certain shots than the warm yellow glow of authentic sealed beams. Restoration purists refused to accept halogen conversions in tribute builds, insisting on authentic sealed beams despite their terrible performance, while practical builders embrace modern lighting for actual driving safety. This lighting upgrade represents the constant tension between authenticity and practicality that defines every aspect of Eleanor's construction, and the tribute cars inspired by this iconic film vehicle. Fact 8. The engine bay was never shown because it was empty. Here's a shocking revelation. The production deliberately avoided showing Eleanor's engine bay in detail because several hero cars used for close-up filming had no engines installed whatsoever. These rolling shells were pushed or towed into position for beauty shots, interior scenes, and stationary filming where actual running engines weren't necessary. The missing engines saved weight for certain stunts and reduced costs, since detailed engine bay dress-up requires expensive period-correct components and meticulous detailing work. When engine compartments do appear briefly on screen, they're heavily shadowed or shot from angles that hide missing components and incorrect details that would infuriate knowledgeable enthusiasts. The few cars with actual running engines featured mismatched power plants ranging from small block Fords to modern fuel-injected units, none matching what a real GT500 would contain. This deception worked perfectly because audiences focus on the action rather than technical accuracy, and most viewers wouldn't recognize an incorrect engine anyway. Fact 7. Eleanor's brake system couldn't handle the stunts. Buckle up for this dangerous truth. The stock-style drum brake systems visible on Eleanor couldn't possibly handle the extreme braking demands shown in the film, requiring hidden modern disc brake conversions on all functional stunt cars. 1967 Mustangs came with four-wheel drum brakes or front discs with rear drums, neither system providing adequate stopping power for repeated high-speed braking during extended chase sequences. The production installed modern four-wheel disc brake systems with upgraded calipers, rotors, and racing brake pads, then disguised them behind period-looking wheels to maintain visual authenticity. Stunt coordinators insisted on these upgrades after calculating that stock brakes would fade completely after just 2 or 3 hard stops from high speed, creating potentially fatal situations for drivers. The enhanced braking systems cost over $5,000 per car, but proved essential for safety and performance during filming. Real Eleanor tribute builders often skip this expensive upgrade, discovering too late that their cars can't stop adequately, leading to accidents and near misses at car shows and cruises. This hidden modification saved lives during production. Fact 6. The famous jump destroyed 3 cars in one take. Get ready for some expensive carnage. That iconic scene where Eleanor jumps over traffic and lands hard enough to bottom out the suspension actually destroyed 3 separate cars in a single take because the stunt went catastrophically wrong. The production rigged the primary jump car with reinforced suspension and landing gear, but miscalculated the ramp angle, causing Eleanor to rotate nose down in mid-air. The landing impact was so severe it bent the frame, broke both axles, destroyed the transmission, and rendered the car completely unrepairable. Two backup cars positioned nearby for potential retakes were damaged by debris and had to be scrapped, bringing the total loss to 3 vehicles from one stunt. The production budget absorbed over $200,000 in unexpected costs, replacing and rebuilding cars after this single sequence. Director Dominic Sena later admitted they only had enough budget for one jump attempt and got incredibly lucky that cameras captured usable footage despite the landing disaster. Modern stunt coordinators still study this jump as an example of how dangerous automotive stunts can spiral beyond control despite extensive preparation. Fact 5. Eleanor's steering wheel changes throughout the film. Here's another continuity nightmare. Eleanor's steering wheel mysteriously transforms between at least 4 different styles throughout the movie, depending on which car was being filmed at any given moment. One scene shows a classic wood-rimmed Shelby wheel. The next cut reveals a modern leather-wrapped racing wheel, followed by what appears to be a stock Mustang wheel in close-ups. This happened because each vehicle had different steering requirements, with stunt cars using wheels that provided better grip and control, while hero cars featured more photogenic period-correct options. The production hoped that rapid editing and audience focus on the action would prevent anyone from noticing these switches, which worked during theatrical releases, but became glaringly obvious on high-definition home video, where freeze-frame analysis revealed every inconsistency. Some wheels include modern airbag covers poorly disguised to look vintage, while others are genuine period pieces that wouldn't survive a real crash. Tribute builders argue endlessly about which wheel represents the real Eleanor configuration. Fact 4. The car's actual top speed was pathetically slow. Prepare for disappointment. Despite all the talk about Eleanor being a performance monster, the actual stunt cars had top speeds barely exceeding 90 miles per hour due to safety governors, automatic transmissions, and engines tuned for reliability rather than power. The production prioritized controllable, predictable performance over raw speed because professional stunt drivers needed cars that behaved consistently across multiple takes rather than unpredictable high-horsepower machines. Most stunt Mustangs ran mild 302 or 351 cubic-inch engines producing around 250 horsepower, which sounds impressive until you realize they were pushing 4,000-pound cars with automatic transmissions and tall rear gears. Insurance companies mandated speed limiters preventing vehicles from exceeding specific velocities on public roads, with some cars electronically restricted to just 75 miles per hour. The illusion of speed came from camera angles, undercranking footage to make motion appear faster, and creative editing rather than actual velocity. Real GT500s would absolutely destroy these movie replicas in any performance metric. Fact 3. Eleanor's license plate is legally trademarked. Hold on to something. The specific license plate number visible on Eleanor throughout the film has been trademarked and legally protected, meaning you cannot legally display that exact plate on your tribute car without risking a lawsuit. The production company secured intellectual property rights to virtually every distinctive visual element of Eleanor's appearance, including the plate number, creating a legal minefield for enthusiasts wanting to build accurate replicas. Several tribute builders have received cease and desist letters demanding they remove Eleanor-specific plates from their vehicles, even when displayed at private car shows with no commercial intent. This aggressive trademark protection has sparked massive controversy in the automotive community, with many arguing that you cannot trademark a license plate number since they're government-issued identifiers rather than creative works. The trademark holders disagree and have successfully sued multiple builders and businesses, winning judgments worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some states' DMV systems now flag that specific plate number and refuse to issue it, having been contacted by the trademark holder's legal team. This situation represents one of the most restrictive trademark enforcements in automotive history. Fact 2. The original hero car was sold for only $60,000. Here's something that'll make you sick. One of the primary hero cars used for close-up filming and Gone in 60 Seconds was sold at auction in 2003 for only $60,000, a price that seems absolutely insane considering what it would be worth today. The buyer had no idea he was purchasing genuine Hollywood history, thinking he was simply getting a well-built Eleanor tribute car at a reasonable price. That same vehicle would easily command over $1 million at auction today, given its screen-used provenance and iconic status. The production company failed to properly document which cars were actually used on screen versus backup vehicles, creating confusion about authenticity that depressed values for years. Current owner refuses to sell despite receiving offers exceeding $2 million, realizing he accidentally purchased one of the most valuable movie cars in existence for pocket change. Several other hero cars disappeared into private collections with owners unaware of what they possessed. This represents one of the greatest automotive investment accidents in history. Fact 1. Building an Eleanor clone can literally ruin your life. And here's the ultimate fact that'll terrify you. Attempting to build an Eleanor tribute car can result in lawsuits, seizure of your vehicle, and financial devastation thanks to the most aggressively enforced automotive trademark in history. Multiple enthusiasts have lost their cars, life savings, and even their homes fighting legal battles after building what they thought were harmless tribute vehicles. The trademark holders actively monitor car shows, online forums, and social media, sending legal teams after anyone displaying an Eleanor clone regardless of whether commercial activity is involved. One builder spent over $300,000 in legal fees defending his right to own a car he built himself, ultimately losing everything including the vehicle. The controversy has split the automotive community between those supporting intellectual property rights and those believing car culture should remain free from such restrictions. Several shops that specialized in Eleanor conversions were sued into bankruptcy, with their entire inventories seized and destroyed. Insurance companies now refuse to cover Eleanor clones, and some trailer companies won't transport them, fearing legal liability. This situation has created a chilling effect where even mentioning Eleanor in connection with a Mustang build can trigger legal threats, making this the most legally dangerous movie car ever created. And there you have it, 20 absolutely insane facts about Eleanor that prove this iconic Shelby is way more complicated than just a beautiful car from a movie. From fake exhausts to legal nightmares, Eleanor's legacy is built on secrets, controversies, and Hollywood magic that fooled us all. If you enjoyed uncovering these wild truths, smash that like button and drop a comment telling us which fact shocked you the most. Until next time, keep it real.